It's Friday night. You're exhausted. You open your banking app and the number on the screen is lower than you expected. You feel a familiar, quiet tightness in your chest. You tell yourself the same lie you always do. If I just made a little more money, the stress would finally fade. You were sold a half-truth. You were taught that hard work and a bigger paycheck equal freedom. But you've probably noticed that when the income increases, the stress stays exactly the same. The anxiety just changes its address. Why? Because your habits didn't change. The problem isn't your salary. The problem is that you have tied your peace of mind to external things you cannot control. 2,000 years ago, Marcus Aurelius managed the wealth of the entire Roman Empire. He had access to limitless resources, yet he wore simple clothes, ate plain food, and often slept on the floor. He didn't do this because he was poor. He did it to prove a point. He knew that money is not the master. Your reaction to it is. Today, we are looking at 4 brutal truths about money that the education system intentionally ignores. Not to make you angry at the world, but to make you the absolute master of yourself. Truth number 1, the paycheck illusion. You check your bank account to see if you're doing well. You believe your salary is a measurement of your worth, your success, and your security. But your salary is just an external number controlled by someone else's priorities. Tying your self-respect to it is handing the keys to your happiness to a stranger. True wealth is not the size of the deposit. True wealth is the ability to look at that number and remain completely unshaken, because your value was never up for negotiation in the first place. Think of the executive who has a panic attack if the market drops 2%, versus the teacher who drives a 10-year-old car, sleeps peacefully, and owns their evenings. One is a slave to a number. The other is free. Amateurs measure their worth by their paycheck. Masters measure it by their peace of mind. Truth number 2. Lifestyle inflation is a golden cage. Every time you get a raise or a bonus, you upgrade. A new car, a better apartment, a nicer wardrobe. You call it a reward. You think you've made it. You aren't rewarding yourself. You are building a golden cage. Every new monthly payment is a tiny piece of your future freedom, sold for present comfort. Marcus Aurelius practiced voluntary poverty. He would eat coarse bread and sleep on the floor for days at a time. Not because he had to, but to prove to himself that he did not need luxury to be happy. When you intentionally choose the simpler life, you are running a daily test on your own mind. You are proving that you are in charge. Consumers upgrade to impress strangers. Strategists downgrade to buy back their freedom. Truth number 3, consumer debt is a psychological chain. Think about the last time you justified a purchase. Society tells you debt is just a tool. Buy now, pay later. It's just a small monthly EMI. It feels like access. It feels like convenience. But consumer debt is not a financial mistake. It is a psychological surrender. It is the physical manifestation of your inability to delay gratification. When you finance a lifestyle you haven't earned, you are not buying a product. You are buying a master. And that master will dictate where you work, how long you stay, and how much stress you endure. A 20% interest credit card balance isn't just math. It's a leash. Every time you swipe it for something you don't need, you are voting for your own dependence. The wealthy avoid consumer debt not because they are afraid of the bank, but because they refuse to be owned by their own impulses. Do not fear the debt. Fear your own lack of discipline. Truth number 4. True wealth is the power to say no. You think wealth is a massive bank account, luxury cars, and the ability to buy anything you want. But having more stuff just gives you more things to manage, protect, and worry about. That is not wealth. That is administrative burden. Real wealth is not about accumulation. It is about independence. It is the quiet power of being able to walk away from a toxic job, a bad deal, or a draining relationship because your survival does not depend on it. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." The person with no EM is a modest lifestyle and 6 months of savings has more actual power than the millionaire who is leveraged to the hilt and terrified of losing their image. Stop trying to look rich. Start building the quiet, unshakable reality of being free. You now see the board. You see that your paycheck is an external. Comfort is a trap. Debt is a chain. And true wealth is the power to say no. This clarity is painful. It destroys your excuses. You can no longer blame the economy, your boss, or your starting salary. You now know that the battlefield is not out there. It is in your own mind. Most people will watch this video, feel a brief spark of motivation, and go right back to scrolling. They will choose the comfort of the illusion. A few of you will close this video and make one structural change today. You will cancel the subscription. You will automate the transfer. You will choose mastery over impulse. Driving an old car while your friends upgrade will feel lonely at first. That loneliness is the price of freedom. Decide which one you are. If you are ready to see the next layer of the game, subscribe. No fluff, no noise, just strategy.